Today we're going to take this canvas from Spotlight, add some vinyl to create this paint your own canvas. So let's make this. We don't have a lot of materials for this project. We're just going to use a standard grip mat because we are just working with regular vinyl today. I've got a Crafter's Choice canvas panel. Make sure you get the panel for this. Do not get the stretched canvas. It won't work as well. It may work okay, but it won't work as well. So make sure you get the panel. I know it says watercolor, but I'm hoping that it will work with just some regular kids paint. And then just some vinyl. I've just chosen black. You can choose any color for this because we're going to remove it anyway once we've painted over the top of it. But we're making sure that we're using adhesive vinyl. I've got HTVRont vinyl for this project. It should just stick directly straight onto that canvas and be able to also be easily removed. So for this project, I'm going to use Canva and I'm also going to use Google Images. So we're going to start first by creating an A4 sized canvas in Canva. The reason I'm doing an A4 size rather than a square is because this time our canvas is an A4 size. Then I'm going to go into Google Images. I'm doing a Google image search because I think it's just going to be easier for me to find an image that suits rather than trying to pour through a lot of Canva stuff. There is heaps of colouring in images available on Google Images. So it's really a preference as to what you want in your background. For me, I'm doing lines. I'm looking for one that's got a real geometric shape to it. You don't have to. You can have the wavy ones. You can have circles, whatever it is that you want. I'm just doing something that's got a geometric shape because I've got a J and the J's got a curve in it, and I just want that little contrast between the straight edges of the geometric shape and the curve of a J. So all you need to do is just scroll through, find the one you're happy with, click on it, and it will open a larger image on the right-hand side. Then on that large image, you just right-click again and go copy image, go straight back into Canva and right-click paste. And then your image will appear on the first page of your Canva design. And then all you need to do is resize it. You want to fill, for me, I want to fill the whole page. For you, you can design this however you like. I just want that whole page to be covered in this geometric shape with the J then being the contrast. Now with the J, I'm looking for a display font. So all I needed to do was create a new page in Canva, click on text, type J. And the reason I'm going for a display font is because I want a fat font. I want a fat font that is very distinct, that it is a J. The J is for Juniper. And I want and the display category has got those thicker fonts already grouped together because they're better for signage and things like that. So I'm just going to scroll through and try and find a J that I'm happy with. I'm looking for one with a top. So it's got the top hat as well as the curve down the bottom. So now's a great time for you to go through and look for the letter that represents your project. So it could be a letter of your children, granddaughter, grandson, a friend, your pet. Obviously I'm doing it for Juniper. So now's a great time for you to pause and just scroll through. So I have settled on Lolita 1. So it's got a little bit of the top hat. It's got the J curve. It's very distinct. And then I'm just going to resize it so it's the same size as my page. And then we're going to go up to share. You're doing a download. This would be fantastic if you had a transparent background for a PNG. But unless you're a Canva Pro member, it's fine. We can get rid of the background in Design Space. Remember to extract the image or the images. So if you're an Apple user, double click. If you're a Windows user, right click and extract all. Now I'm back in Design Space and I've started a new canvas and we are going to upload. Now I've got two images that I need to upload here. I've got the J and I've got the geometric shape. We're going to open the J first, mainly because that's an easy one. So you just need to click, for this letter, it's just one click. It will get rid of all of the background for me. We're doing a single layer. Make sure you name your image so you can find it again. Load it. You'll get a warning to say it's too big. That red exclamation mark on the right-hand side in your layers section, it's just telling you it's too big for the mats. So it's not going to be able to cut or print for you. So that will disappear. You saw as soon as I resized the J. And now this one, we're doing the geometric shape. Now, depending on how big your shape is, or how complex your shape is, will determine how long it takes for you to get rid of your background. And it is a matter of clicking preview single layer, making sure that you're getting rid of all of the components. I'm going to zoom in because this is making my eyes go cross-eyed. I don't know why I chose this. It's going to look cool at the end, I hope, but I don't know if this was the right thing to choose. But anyway, think of this as an electronic weeding. So if you are someone who loves weeding, this job is for you. Go through and get rid of all of those background components. Make sure once you've done it, you do a final preview single layer just to make sure that all of the parts that you want to be gone are gone. Then you're going to upload this. Make sure you save it. You have done a lot of work in your weeding or your background removal. Do not lose this now. So make sure that you name your image. And then click upload. Again, you're going to get the warning, but that is just a size issue. So I'm just going to resize it. I've just chosen 20 centimeters as my width because that is the width of the canvas. And then I know that my canvas is a 25 centimeter height. So I'm going to create a square that is the size of our canvas. Now, our canvas is 20 centimeters by 25 centimeters. And then I'm going to do a slice. The slice I am going to do is to put the patterned component of our design over the top of the square that we've created for our canvas. Then I'm going to select both the square and the canvas, and I am going to click on slice. Now we're going to get rid of all of the components apart from the black geometric part because that's the only bit that we need. We want that the black lines to still be on the screen because they're the bits that are going to stay onto our canvas. And then the other thing we're going to do is put our letter J straight over the top. And then we can resize that. Now, the reason we just have to put it over the top, we do not have to slice anything, we do not have to cut anything, is because we actually want that J to be something that we can lift off. So we don't have to play around with it too much because we can just remove that as we are doing our weeding. So we're going to do the J straight over the top. Then we will center. So we're going to select the J as well as the slice result. And we're going to go up to align. And we're going to go center. You don't have to do it in center. You can align it however you like. But I just want my J right in the middle. So I'm going to highlight the whole thing, click on align, and then the actual center. And then what you want to do, you're going to highlight both the J and the geometric pattern, and you are going to click on combine and then unite. The reason you want to do that is so that those pieces are all together. Because when we go to cut, after we have saved, and we click on make, we don't want it to appear in two separate mats. We want it to appear in the one mat on the same design. So you are going to highlight both, click on combine and unite. Now that we have united the J and the geometric shape, what we're going to do is put a square shape or a rectangle shape behind our newly formed artwork. The reason I'm going to do that is because I want the machine to cut a rectangle around the outside of our design. This is not an essential step. It's just going to make it a little bit easier for you when it comes to weeding. You could just take it off the mat and then cut around if you like, but this allows the machine to do it for you. It will save you a little bit of vinyl as well because it's going to be quite precise and there's only like a small gap between your design and where the weeding will begin. So all I'm going to do is create a rectangle. I'm going to resize it. So make sure you go up to that lock and click on the unlock part of the sizing, and then you can manually, or you could type it in as well, but I'm just manually going to make a rectangle that fits the size of my artwork. Then I'm going to make sure that that rectangle is behind my J artwork. I'm going to change the color of it just to make it easier for us to see the contrast between the black. So I've changed mine to pink, between the black and the pink, so I can make sure that that square is big enough. And then once you've done that, I want you to align it. So you highlight both the artwork and the square. You go up to align, make sure you have centered it. And then once you have centered it, you're going to highlight them both again, and you are going to this time click on attach. This will make sure that it is cut as one image. Then you can go to make. Make sure you have saved it. Then click on make. And it should come up with one mat with your artwork on that one mat. You won't be able to see the square. You shouldn't be able to see the square. If you can see the square separately, it means that you have not attached and you need to just go back and attach. Do not mirror this design. You do not need to mirror it. We are not using iron-on vinyl. We are just using regular adhesive vinyl. We're just going to choose vinyl as our material and then head on over to the machine. Now, this is going to be a big weeding project, and I will speed this up shortly. I just wanted to talk to you about how I am doing this. I am keeping the vinyl stuck to the mat. The reason I have done that, which I haven't done in any of my previous videos, but I'm doing it today because it's such a finicky little weeding project. And by keeping it on the mat, what I've done is I'm actually giving it a little bit more stability, because you know when you sometimes take your vinyl off the mat, the vinyl will curl a little bit, it will lose a little bit of its flatness on the table, and I want to be able to see easily and be able to weed easily this project. It's only because it's got so many little fiddly bits. The other thing is that you need to make sure that you are weeding the right section. So I've made sure that I've gone from the J, which is your inside component, and I am then going to weed from that way out. Rather than starting at a top corner or a bottom corner, I'm actually using the J as my starting point or my guide. So again, this is a great one if you're a weeding lover, but if you're not, you might go cross-eyed by the end of it. Luckily, once I get going, it was pretty straightforward, but it was something that would take a bit of time, so I'm just going to speed it up for you. Off the mat, I'm just using a craft knife and a ruler. Again, partly because I don't want to waste anything, but also because I don't want to now flip it. Now that I've done all that weeding and keeping it quite straight, I don't want to flip it and then pull bits off. So I want to just pull that J off rather than the whole vinyl mat that I've got there. And now that I've weeded it, it's just a matter of getting some transfer tape like we would with any other vinyl project, laying the transfer tape over the top and making sure that you're using your scraper to get rid of any of those air bubbles that appear underneath our transfer tape, so it's a nice and flat image that we've got. So I'm going to use some baking paper to help me with laying my vinyl down on the canvas. Because we've got an image that not only has lots of straight lines, but the J is actually a straight line in itself, I want to make sure that it's nice and straight, nice and even when we place it down on the canvas. So what I've got is a little bit of baking paper, and I'm going to remove all of the backing paper on the transfer itself, and then I want to place my vinyl down on the baking paper. It's not going to stick to the baking paper. It actually helps us with being able to move it around. Then I'm just going to fold a tiny little bit of the baking paper up at the bottom and line up my design. Now, by doing this, you can then see whether or not you've got it lined up along the whole of the canvas before you pull that baking paper out from underneath. You need to make sure that you are quite firm with pressing down, because we are essentially pressing this vinyl down onto a fabric, because canvas is a fabric. So you need to make sure that you're using a fair bit of force to get it down. It's going to lift fine, but you don't want it to lift until after you've painted it. So making sure that you're using your scraper, getting it nice and flat, making sure it's nice and, oh, I've missed a bit there. Obviously I pulled up a bit that shouldn't have in that top left-hand corner. But that's okay. So using my scraper, pushing it down, making sure that it's nice and firm, and then slowly lifting that transfer tape. I don't want to have that transfer tape pulling it up. And take your time, and you shouldn't have any issues. If as you're going, some of it lifts, just like we would with any other vinyl product, we just use that scraper to push it down and make sure it stays down. I really like this. I hope it turns out once I've painted it, because I really like the design. I think it's going to show off Juniper's painting skills really well. I think it's going to be a great little project, and it's quite easy. It's quite straightforward. So yeah, fingers crossed. Now that we've pressed the vinyl onto our canvas, the only thing left to do is to test it out. So I've got some washable paints, Crayola paints from Officeworks. They're kid-friendly, they're non-toxic, and most importantly, they're pet-friendly for Juniper. And then I've got 2 Ziploc bags. I'm going to put the canvas inside one of them, and then the top one is going to have the peanut butter on it. The reason I've done that is because Juniper gets a little bit excited about licking, and I was worried she'd bite through the bag. So if your dog's a very gentle and calm licker of peanut butter, then you probably only have to do 1. But because I've got a Labrador, she needs a double bag. So I've just put the canvas inside the bags in front of Juniper, and as you can see, she is loving it. She's licking that peanut butter like it's going out of fashion, and the great thing is that she's pushing that paint around too. So I've really had to think about how I'm going to take this paint work out of the bag, because I don't want it to turn into just a big smear. So I'm going to cut the Ziploc bag. So I've taken the peanut butter one off, and now I've just got the one that's sitting over the top of the canvas. And I've decided to cut down both of the sides of the bag. That way I should be able to just lift it straight up, and it should be nice and original to the way Juniper has spread that paint, essentially. So I'm just going to lift that up, and I think this is going to be cute. She's done a really good job. It's like a butterfly painting from when we were kids. Because it's still quite heavy on the paint colour, I'm just going to grab a piece of just regular A4 paper. I don't want to blot it too much, but I'm just going to put it over the top and just press it down just to lift some of that excess paint. But I'm just going to press down, because if I move it around or sponge it, it will change the texture too much of the paint, I think. So I'm just going to press it down and then just lift that straight up. Again, just like a little butterfly painting. And then I'm going to let it dry. Now, I don't want it to be fully dry, but I want it to be just about dry when I lift the weeding up. It's kind of like when you're painting your house and you're doing the skirting boards and things. You put your masking tape down and you're supposed to lift it before it's fully dry so it doesn't crack. I feel like that would be the best method here as well. So I'm going to wait until it's, half dry and then start lifting up the vinyl to show the pattern underneath. Now that it's nearly dry, I'm just going to weed this out. As you can see, it has kind of gone underneath the vinyl a little bit. I'm not sure if it's the watercolor canvas that's also merged with the non-toxic paint, which is pretty well water-based, but I still think it looks amazing. I'm really loving this idea. And look, who would have thought Juniper's an artiste? I just love the outcome of this project. By just using a little bit of vinyl, a canvas from Spotlight, and some kid-proof paint, I have created a little artwork that my puppy has created. I think this would be a fantastic idea for a kid's birthday party. Putting all of that vinyl down and then just getting the kids to go crazy with their finger paints or just some little brushes, and then removing that vinyl before the end of the party, and they've got a new little artwork that they've made for themselves. It's a great project if you're a beginner, but it's also a great one if you're trying to use up a little bit of vinyl in your stash. And how happy does Juniper look with her artwork hanging out in the backyard? She's a real Frida Puplo, isn't she? So I hope you have enjoyed. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'll see you next week with a new project.